Hey everyone, welcome back to the review. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you my thoughts on the 2010 WNBA Blitz second round. That's right, the second round. Second round just wrapped up about half hour ago, and I'm going to share with you my thoughts on today's action. So the first game, it was the number 5 seed Phoenix Mercury against the number 4 seed Seattle Storm. This was the slated to be the more entertaining game of the two. And the ABC game, which is going to be more entertaining too. They gave to Ryan and the back Global, and Holly Rowe was the broadcast, the sideline report, and they always do that for double headers. And then if there's a second game for a double header, they usually have Chen Robinson and her partner, which is the same partner she has for play-by-play person she goes with for college games she does on the ACC network, and for WNBA games on ESPN2. Sometimes she does do that Chen Robinson does do play play-by-play duties with Ryan Ruckel. She did one time. Chen Robinson did. And then sometimes it's Chen Robinson and Becca Lobo mixed when Ryan Ruckel wasn't doing one game. They were both teaming it, I think. But then they put the second game, which was the Chen Robinson's game. But I mean, I understand why, because you want fans that watch on ABC games to get familiar with one broadcast crew. You know what I'm saying? Which completely makes sense to me. And they always do that. Always networks do. They put their one day they always push to do all the big games, and the other ones, the side ones, just do like do like the secondary games. But anyways, another topic. Let's go back to actual topic on here. Phoenix Mercury, Seattle Storm, 5 against 4. Phoenix Mercury won a high score. It wasn't really high score. It was E3-2, but it was just a game with not really a lot of defense played. I mean, that game they had no Diana Taurasi, and she was missed. She was missed in that game, But Sophie Cunningham stepped up in return. In absence, or I should say in her absence, she stepped up by hitting 6 of 7 from the 3-point line, and she was clutch. But then they made a free throw with 0.4 seconds left to clinch the first round victory. Now in this game, Diana Taurasi was playing, but she was kind of limping. She played limited minutes in that game. And then Brianna Stewart was out. And during the week, they said, well, is Brianna Stewart going to even play? They were kind of questioning because the Storm didn't want to go out and say Brianna Stewart, they know for sure that Brianna Stewart might not play. And for certain she won't play. But if they know that, they don't want to say that. So they said it was a game time decision. And then, I think the day before they announced them, no Stewart. So, well, even with Diana injured, kind of level the playing field. Even with Diana half strength, she had to be a full strength to really change the playing field. That's what I thought, at least. And then, well, it was actually Storm winning at the half by a 3-pointer, 35-32, and then it went to overtime. It was in the 70s, and it went to overtime. I'm okay, this is entertaining. But then at the end, the Storm just got a little cold in overtime, and the Mercury did a little more they had to do in regulation to win the game. And they did. And I thought the first game was pretty entertaining. it was on the edge of your seat. Right there, you got on the edge of your seat, like I was just, I'm not a fan. I was just been some watching it as like a neutral fan because I'm a fan of the Aces. I wasn't even a fan of the two teams playing, and I was thoroughly entertained. I was on like the edge of my seat, like, I'm like, it was pretty entertaining. I was on the edge of my seat this whole game. Wanted to see who's gonna win, and this and that. And it was pretty entertaining. But the Mercury did end up winning, like 88. I think it was 80. They did win in overtime. But at the end of the game, it was just kind of like a foul fest, like in timeouts. Both teams were taking timeouts to inbound the ball, to advance the ball, and this and that. It kind of got a little lackluster, but it's a pretty entertaining game. And then Diana Taurasi and Sue Bird exchanged jerseys at the end of the game, which I thought was pretty awesome because they're friends, right? And then they went to the same college together, and I think they're a little different. We're in the same draft class, but they did go to the same college, and they are friends in WNBA. It's just pretty exciting, especially with Sue Bird's not unsure if she's going to play next season, combining retirement. She definitely wants to get one, get definitely swept jerseys, which is pretty awesome, I think. Especially when, friends swap jerseys, or, like, you swap jerseys with, like, your friends or your Olympic teammates. They do. Like WNBA jerseys with their, like, your Olympic teammates. I think it's pretty awesome. But yeah, that first game was just entertaining on the edge of your seat. I liked the game. The second game was going on at the first game. I'm surprised the ESPN didn't say that. I'm surprised they didn't do this, like, what they did with the college women's basketball, NCAA tournament game. They did, like, we're gonna, some games with overtime, right? We'll postpone the start some, like 20 some minutes or some amount of minutes back for the tournament. And I thought that was awesome for the women's tournament. And the men's tournament does that as well. But they did extra time for it. And I thought that was awesome. Because, you see the games with no interruptions. You see them from start to finish, which I love. Which is pretty awesome. Seeing the game start to finish, especially like a big time game. But it is what it is, though. I didn't really stay for the post game. Just because I wanted to see the actual game. And then, so I flipped it to the second game. And then, second game was the Chicago Sky, the 6th seed, against the 3 seed Minnesota on ESPN 2. And I thought, Minnesota might win, they got Napheesa Collier. They got Sylvia Fowles, who is really dominant. Sylvia Fowles is really dominant. Napheesa Collier is a bucket. She's really good for them. Layshia Clarendon, she's good. She hasn't really got a lot of opportunities to show her game. And now she can on this Minnesota Lynx squad. She is just, like, rock solid for them. She is this, and can't go. Okay, and then you had Aerial Powers, who's a buck for them. You had a bunch of good players on the court today. And you thought, okay, Chicago played on Thursday, and they might be a little tired still, or having to play, and then Minnesota got some extra rest. Just practicing on Friday and Saturday, and you thought, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Friday and Saturday, because I think all teams had Thursday off to watch the games. I believe, but even if they had play practice Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you had 3 days of practice, and they had which is kind of like rest, not playing a physical game, but actually playing actually helped this guy, it was kind of back and forth, then this guy just took a big lead, like a big enough lead, like double digit, like 15-point lead, and just never looked back. He never looked back once he took that big lead, and that's what they just cushion themselves, and that's pretty much what won the game. Because at the end, the Aces not the Aces, the Lynx were coming back into it, and they were, and and I thought, okay, this might be a close game, maybe not overtime, but maybe kind of down the wire, and all of a sudden, just Minnesota just stopped making shots, and they had a chance with 3 minutes left to go in the game, 2-3 minutes left to go in the game, make shots, and when Chicago was cold, they had a chance to kind of tie this up or take the lead, but they didn't capitalize on their opportunities. That's what I think hurt Minnesota in that game. They just didn't capitalize on their opportunities late in the game, and then let Chicago get out to that big enough cushion early on. I mean, you can come back from it, yes. I don't think they, I think they need a bigger cushion. They shouldn't have let them get out to that big cushion, that big 15-point cushion they got. And then, and then at the end of the game, Sylvia Fowles was fouled. I mean, she had to foul. I mean, Minnesota did have to foul, but Sylvia Fowles fouled. She fouled out 50 cents left. I'm that's game. That's game. She can't. That's game. And then it was, and then they just from there, when downhill from there. But and then in the semifinals, it's going to be the highest. It's the highest number versus the lowest number, and then second highest number versus the second lowest number. So it's 1 seed versus the 6 seed in Chicago Sky, and that's the 2 seed Las Vegas Aces against my team, the Aces, against the 5 seed in the Phoenix Mercury in a best of 5 series. Now I still think the Sun are my pick to win the championship. I hope the Aces win, but the Sun are the favorites to win the championship. And I can see the Sun winning the championship because they're on a good winning streak. They are hot right now. They are blowing teams out, especially in their defensive end. Their offense is really strong. They have a good offense. They can put together a ton of points. Just if they're not, even if it's a grind out fest, they can just have a grind out fest. And just make shots and shots and shots and shots on you. It's wow. I've seen the games where they're playing good defensively, but then they also do shots and make shots and make shots and make shots and make shots. And it's and sometimes they even do heat check. Have to heat check shot. Wow. That tells you something. When you have to do a heat check when you do heat check shots, it's that means you're that on fire. And it's wow. And then the Sky, they're good. They're playing good because especially with Candace Parker, and then Steph Dawson is out for the 3-on-3. They've had some injuries, and then Candace Parker, she was a big one. And Steph Dawson was out for the 3-on-3 commits in their little pre-Olympic tournament. And they were still playing. They were just kind of tanking, but then they played really well. And the record doesn't show it. Like, the record does not show how good they are. They are good. They are a good team. But now let's take a look at the other matchup. The Aces against the Mercury. The Aces have a good team. They have A'ja Wilson, Elizabeth Cambage, which was really good. I mean, she was out with COVID for a little bit of the year, at the end of the year. And then you have Darren Hamby, who was like some player of the year. Like, I'm not even kidding you. Like she could have been the best bench player in the league this season again. But she had to give it to her teammate, which, that tells you something. If you have to give up the award to your teammate, you win the award instead your teammate wins the award, that means you know your stat. And then their bench is really stacked with Kelsey Plum, Jerry Hamby, Liz Cambage, Chelsea Gray, A'ja Wilson, being starters. Like, that trio is just like, whew, they are good. They are good. Then you got Game. Then you got the Phoenix Mercury, who are good. You got Skylar Diggins. You got Skylar Diggins. You got Brittany Griner. And then Diana Taurasi. I don't know how good Diana Taurasi is going to be for Tuesday, for when she has to go to Vegas. I do not know. So that's a little bit of a concern. But for them, if she is out there kind of playing, I mean, I think what I'll do is, even if she's playing okay, it might just give, she could be in just to give players a little bit of rest, to give some starters a little bit of rest, that's what I think, or, give a little bit of rest. She doesn't have to practice. Obviously, she's not going to practice Monday because they're going to go straight to him. Either they're going to go straight back to him, Phoenix, and then go to LA, or they're just going to go straight to LA, and play. They might have, and she's probably not going to practice Monday, and she'll play Tuesday, but kind of like, that's kind of a little worrisome for them if she doesn't play. But she probably will be okay for it. Maybe not game 1, but she might be okay for game 2 or 3. Better strength. But even if she can play somewhat limited, I think she'll help a bit. And then, in the Aces, you got Raquan Williams as well, starting, like I mentioned. And stuff like that. Their starting 5 is really good. Their bench, solid. They're a good bench. So, it's gonna be kind of exciting. The Sun Sky matchup is gonna be fun because you got a good Connecticut offense and a good Connecticut defense, and then you got Sky, who is a really good offensive team. It's a good offense team, so you kind of got a good team, 2 good teams battling out. But I could see the Sky they played 2 games without Jonquel Jones, the MVP, and they lost. And they won the 3rd game without Jonquel Jones. But they were playing them. They had more. This was when the 3rd game was probably when they had their when they had chemistry and they were playing really solid. Rock solid up. Both of them were really on their winning streaks and found their way. And they grew together. And stuff like that. And then, and you can't forget their bench, like DJ Carrington. You can't forget them. There are 2 players on the all defensive first team. Jonquel Jones. And you had Brianna Turn. Or is it Brianna Jones? But you had 2 players on the same defensive first team, or the same team. And that just shows you how good they are. and there's like solid out of the court. And it's like, I mean, I could see them going 3-0. The aces, I mean, I would love to see like aces matchup, because you got especially the FISA versus Asia, two best friends battling on the court in the playoffs. You know, that'd been pretty awesome to see, but it didn't happen. I mean, I know they played against each other in the past in like regular season, but I mean, playoffs when they're like when they want to beat each other in the regular season, but they really want to beat each other in the playoffs. But it just didn't happen because Minnesota kind of lack of urgency in a sense, in a little bit. Because Kayla hit like a desperation shot and it went in. And I'm like, you mean in the regular season, you could do that, but in the playoffs, it's kind of a little risky. Try that. But yeah. So I think the Sun are gonna win, and I think the Aces are gonna win. I think it's gonna be Sun Aces. I think the Sun could win 3-0 against this guy. But the Aces, I don't think the Aces are gonna win 3-1. 3-0. I think they're probably gonna have to go to like game 4 if they want to win. That's what I think. That's what I think at least. Maybe they might go to game 4 the Sun. But then, if they play the Aces, they dominate the Aces 3-0 in the regular season. But it wasn't by like blowout margins. They didn't like blow them out. It was a little not super competitive, but they didn't blow them out. And then in the Mercury, if they get the Mercury, they'd be on like a really bit of a hot streak. And you don't want the Mercury in a bit of a hot streak, so I mean all the teams coming up that are gonna be on hot streaks and playing well, but I mean like really hot because they were like the first round, they had to play 2 first round games, win a semifinal series as the underdogs. So it's kind of like, if you're like winning on the road, and especially in this league where it's hard to win on the road, So, thanks, Sam. Take care,